I'm your host of Check Out This Podcast, Gabby, and today I'm joined by Abby Breyfogle, who is the Drag's Business and Executive Partnership Manager. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So today we listened to the podcast 99% Invisible, and specifically the episode A Man, a Plan, a Canal, Mars. What made you choose this podcast? Why did you start listening?
Well, I've been listening for a few years now. I've really upped my game the past year though, because it's a really good thing to listen to to my faraway class, because it's exact amount of time to get me there and back, so it works out perfectly. And I think it's just a fun way to learn about random topics. This one was about aliens and Mars and how people used to believe these aliens made these canals on Mars. I just thought it was a really fun one to introduce you to, because it's really kind of shows kind of the niche topics that they cover and stuff. And so it's just my favorite. I don't know why I'm so drawn to it, but it's just a fun way to learn about niche things. But they have a bunch of different kinds. This is the one, it was more of a book review. They're the author on the podcast. Sometimes they have one where it's more of a narrative, where they're going around the world to cover something the longest fence in Australia, and so they go to Australia and stuff to learn. And they also have some that does a book review for the Constitution or the Power Broker, and some that review and the history of clothing and stuff. So they have a bunch of different types within the 99PI umbrella, but the one I said today was more of a book review style.
Mm-hmm. How would you if you had to pick anything to go on this podcast, because I feel it's super broad, would you have a topic that you'd be yeah, let's do this?
Do my own pitch? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, if you were to pitch a podcast, because I feel they're so niche.
Yeah.
How do you find the longest fence in Australia?
It's so crazy how they come up with it. One is it was about longitude, but they made it about pirates. I feel the one that got me into 99PI in the first place was one about the Olympics, and it's all about the podcast is supposed to be design that's invisible to the eye, because it was made with the local architecture group in San Francisco originally, and so it has a connection there. So I first started doing was reviewing or talking about the history of Olympic design, how it fully led to this mass protest in Mexico City during the Olympics, and that's the one that got me into it. So honestly, I kind of want to do an Olympic ones. I feel there's so many hidden stories there. So I don't know exactly what I would want to do it about, but I love the Olympics. I think it's a really cool thing. Maybe about Olympic pins or something like that, because I'm obsessed with Olympic pins.
Okay.
So maybe something about that.
Honestly, I feel you said Olympics, and my first thought was the cardboard beds.
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
was a huge thing
and I
for
feel
a little
that
bit.
Could be good. They've been talking about the design behind the Olympic Village or something that. I feel there's a lot of cool things that could be done about the Olympics.
I'd want to walk through of the Olympic Village,
right?
The beds and the rooms and the snacks probably too.
I do
the
watch way too many of those TikTok videos when they come out, because I love hearing the reviews about the beds and all the other crazy things that go down in the Olympic Village.
I feel you can definitely see a lot of the things now that social media is so huge. Alona Mar is one of the Olympians I follow really closely. Love her.
Yeah.
And she's all over the place. Love her. She also has a podcast. She's one of my favorites. So this episode we listened to, they talk about lines on Mars and how they think that they're canals. How even did you get into this?
Yeah, I've listened to it a few weeks ago. I wanted to do one that came out more recently, and I was okay, the perfect one to show is one about aliens, because who doesn't love a good alien story? And it really was drawn to me too, because when I think of aliens, I think Area 51, Roswell, modern American moments. I don't think about what people thought about aliens in 1901 kind of thing, and that's what it was covering, because it was when people thought these Martians built canals in 1901. I was they thought about aliens back then. I didn't know that was even an option. So I was I feel that was just a really interesting one to me, because it brought up something that I never even would have thought of.
I also loved how they combined science with a fun topic like aliens. I would never have clicked on something that's canals.
Exactly.
But you're oh, it has aliens. It's
yeah,
fun. I like aliens.
And also a little science drama, because the scientists obviously there's not spoiler. There's no Martians.
Exactly.
They found. And the canals were not real. And so it also kind of showed some science drama, because it was some people disagreeing. It kind of shows that things always are changing. People used to scientists were saying that these things are real, and they mentioned I feel it was Nicholas Tesla was yeah, no, they're real. Big prominent figures that we know of today is of affecting the modern world all believed in this. It just shows how much science changes and stuff. I feel it was a cool side lesson to take away.
I feel also they talk about journalism and how that really helped push forward this narrative that there either were or weren't aliens. I want to say that the initial person, I'm forgetting his name, but he had basically had some connections in the journalism world, and like once they started picking up those stories, it kind of just spread from there to these other big news sources that like, you know, we do know about today.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons like I like 99PI so much is because of the fact there's like this journalism edge to it. Like this one was more of a book review, but it still has connections into the journalism field. But they have these like great narrative pieces. It's like almost like a little feature story you'd read, but instead it's like an audio form, and that's why kind of what was like draws me into it. Because also it's like learning about like niche things. That's kind of what I like about journalism. A journalism major, and like I think you got to hear a bunch of people's stories about something like you never would have thought of. Because like I don't know, like I never would have thought about like how people used to like perceive aliens, but like now I know about it, and like now I need to know even more about it. So honestly, I might check out that guy's book now.
I know. I feel like I would listen to like all these episodes and be like, well, there's a new book to go on my list. There's a new documentary to watch. Like I feel like there's so much to learn. And that's, I mean, I have a journalism background too, so I feel like I'm always looking to learn new things. So definitely gonna have to start listening, I think, to some of these episodes. I think another thing that I really liked from the podcast is they talked about the small boy theory, and this is how they like debunked that these actually weren't canals made by Martians on Mars. So they like talked about how basically the distance of the telescope and Mars made a difference in what they were seeing, and they like I guess ran these experiments of people sitting in the back of a classroom versus like really close versus a medium length, and like from far away they see nothing versus like up close they're seeing like these rivers and like natural made things, and then from the middle they're seeing lines. And I feel like that's really important just in life, talking about perspective and how like, you know, different perspectives change what we're seeing in the world. So I felt like that was really interesting.
No, it was a great like side lesson to take away from it. Like what we think of the world might not actually be the case, and like you need to like sometimes re-examine things. One thing they also mentioned was how sometimes if you're like really knowledgeable about one thing, it can actually like not benefit you because you know so much, you think you're an expert, even though there might be flaws in what you do. So sometimes like the smartest people can like end up in these like trenches of like what's not true because they have such like a firm belief system.
Right. I think that's so cool. And I like love podcasts that do have the sciencey element, but also have like a good takeaway for me. Like I love walking away from a podcast thinking like, I feel like a better person. Like
exactly.
That's what I want to take away when I'm listening to a podcast or like reading a book or watching a movie. For sure.
For sure. Yeah. Because I feel like it's just an important lesson to like know in general, is that sometimes like you need to know that like maybe you don't know it, and maybe you should like re-examine why you know something. Maybe it's not quite true. I feel like especially with like social media stuff, sometimes we see things, I'm like, oh no, that's the truth. I'm like, wait, no, like is it actually? Like look, we double check. Just because I've like seen something enough times doesn't mean it's necessarily true, and I mean to like re-examine my belief system because of that.
Yeah, I think especially with like just different perspectives, I feel like it makes a lot of sense when you break it down in like a sciencey like theory too, because I think a lot of people will be like, oh, look from a different perspective. Like if you like you know when we're editing like our work, even like within the drag or like just schoolwork, and they're like, oh, just take it from a different perspective. Like look at something different. Yeah. And like you can say that all you want, and then when you put a sciencey theory behind it, like that makes so much more sense. I was like, wait, that like clicked in my head for sure.
For sure.
I also really liked towards the very end they talked about wanting to be skeptical in life and like having this curiosity about the world around you, but also knowing your limits and like the balance between that.
For sure. I feel like it was a good like reminder that like, especially with the journalism, like you need to like explore different ideas and like kind of look into how things work, but at the same time like you can't like crumble your beliefs. Like you can't like fully do away. So it's like a balance of deciding like what's aligns with you, and then also how you can like reflect on that and see maybe we need to like re-examine stuff, or maybe we need to be more skeptical about this specific thing. I feel like it all connected really well during the entire episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it started very sciencey and it just went very full circle in like a way that was easy to understand. I also like that the episodes weren't super long. The one that you had me listen to, I want to say was like 33 minutes or something.
Yeah, they're like 30, 45. The ones about the Constitution are a little longer. They're like an hour and a half. But that's because they have a guest speaker, like Elizabeth Warren was on. But most of them are a pretty good length, especially like I was saying, like it's a good time. I can walk from class and back, and like it's all rounds up in there. So it's like it's a really good length to keep you like entertained, because it's a lot of information sometimes, but it's like they're able to condense it in a really good way. Because like I mean that's a lot of history they had to like combine down. But they did it in like a way that was digestible, which I thought was nice.
Right, and I think like going back to the journalism too is like that's such an important thing. Like within any media is being able to condense like really complicated information and make it digestible. And I felt like they did a really great job with that.
For sure. I definitely agree.
I'm so glad you could join us today. I do have a couple lightning round questions I'd love to ask. So my first one is, how do you listen to your podcast?
Yeah, I feel like I listen to just like most of the time. I listen to it just like on my headphones when I'm walking and stuff. Occasionally I listen to my car if I'm like going on a long drive specifically. I'll have some like queued up.
Yeah. Do you have a certain time of day? I guess the second one is when are you listening to your podcast? Like, are you nighttime, morning?
Yeah, I think most of the time it's like walk to class in the morning, kind of starting my day off right, especially if it's like if I want to listen to something a little more like formal to keep me informed kind of thing, like an up first kind of situation. I might listen to in the day and be like, okay, let's do something quick to like keep me informed with like what's going on in the world.
Right, like start your morning with some news.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the NPR like little packages of like what's going on today.
They're a perfect way to like kind of know what's happening. There's also like a couple different options too. I can do NPR, I can do the daily. Like we can switch through if like if I want a little variety.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the morning news, like blurbs, because sometimes I just don't have it in me to read like a full thing right when I'm waking up. But I do want to like be informed.
And it keeps me off my phone and walking, you know? It keeps me like, so that way I'm like a little less of like a screenager when I'm walking.
That's what I was going to say. I was literally going to say, I don't want to be a screenager walking on campus.
So it keeps me like a little less connected to my phone, which is always a win.
Yeah, for sure. And then my last question is, why? Why do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah, I'm going to say kind of like just a cheesy answer, which is my dad loves podcasts. He's like, that's his big thing. He does like listen to them while he goes to sleep, which I think is a little crazy. So I don't know how much he learns, but he's always listening to them. If it's like on a drive to work, if he's going to bed. My mom's also a big like NPR, BBC radio person. So just like audio is always there kind of thing. I did always like when I was in high school and stuff roll my eyes and my dad being like, why do you like podcasts so much? Because he wouldn't stop talking about them and telling me what he learned from stuff you should know. It's like always updating me. And I was like, this is so annoying because I was a moody teenager. But now I'm like, oh, this is my whole thing now. So a little he won that one a little bit.
But that's so
okay.
Cute.
Yes.
And now it's like your frontal lobe is developed.
Exactly.
Like, I get it now.
And I'm like, now it's actually really entertaining. But he does like stuff you should know better. And I like 99% Invisible a lot more. And so they are very similar. Like you learn about a niche topic. So we do have still like our difference of opinion there.
Oh, well, that's so cute.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm Gabby.
And I'm Abby.
And this was Check Out This Podcast.